dari 25 murid utama Guru Padmasambhava. Beliau sebagai profesor, tepatnya di bidang studi Buddhis, dan memiliki pemahaman mendalam tentang filosofi dan praktik Buddhis. Rinpoche juga sudah diundang untuk memberikan berbagai pengajaran, kelas, dan juga pemberdayaan di berbagai negara termasuk Malaysia, Singapura, Australia, Swiss, Hong Kong, Indonesia, dan juga beberapa negara lainnya. Bagi Bapak Ibu yang ingin mengenal lebih lanjut tentang kehidupan dan karya beliau, silakan mengunjungi websitenya yaitu di www.neyphug.org. Kira-kira seperti itu sekilas untuk profil dari narasumber kita pada malam hari ini. Dan tentunya mari bersama kita siapkan batin, pikiran kita untuk fokus mendengarkan. Sekali lagi bagi yang ingin membutuhkan penerjemahan dalam bahasa Indonesia boleh melalui Zoom tadi di 8531412549 dengan passwordnya huruf besar semuanya yaitu bahasa, atau melalui YouTube di akun Wihara Borobudur, silakan dipilih Know It Better. Dan bersama kita akan menggunakan langsung sharing Dharma dari Rinpoche. Rinpoche, we invite Rinpoche to start sharing Dharma with us. Please, Rinpoche.
Check. Check, check, check. Good evening. Come on, be more excited. Like, good evening. We have no dinner. Most of you are apparently a new face, right? So you are not in the retreat. You had your dinner? Not yet? No wonder. No wonder, no energy. So John, excellent. Then is the right things to do, you know. Otherwise you will be hungry, tired. So maybe I will hold you up to 12 midnight. So you'll be so tired, go back. All right, Namo Buddhaya. Homage to Buddha and Bodhisattvas and all the great teacher in the universe that I pay my respect. Can you all hear me? Good. So this is not a teaching, it's a sharing. Okay. And I want this to be very engaging, question answer. Yes, this is called Know It Better. It's education based for you to share your knowledge. I get to know you better. You get to know me better. You get to know the work that I do better. So today we decided to share a little history of our dear teacher, Buddha. So I'm a very unhappy Buddhist myself. I stress on the word called Buddhist. So to the extent I refuse to call myself Buddhist. Whenever anyone asks, are you a Buddhist? I said, no. Are you religious? I said, no. Because I think we have fault for both followers as well as practitioners. They are very rare because of the degenerated time. Proper, authentic, dedicated, pure Sangha or individual monk practitioner is very rare. you know. So whenever they put me as a monk or the teacher, and they have a lot of hope and expectations, I get freaked out. Because there will be so many things I need to explain, not only for myself. They will be asking, do you know this teacher? Do you know this? And why? How? You know. As well, followers make that mistake as well. It's such a beautiful wisdom that Siddhartha taught. But we forcefully use that wisdom as a religion. I shared this joke with many of my students. I remember Nikki was telling me that long ago. I was asking, how are you doing, Nikki? He said, Rinpoche, I remember in class you told us to not embarrass Buddha. So I'm trying my best to not embarrass the Buddha. You know. So today I decided to share the history of Buddhism a little bit to clear understanding, at least the root of what Dharma teaching is about, what this so-called Buddhism is about. Okay? And I'm happy there are many young listeners here. Hopefully, we will able to know it better and have a better approach to the teaching of the Buddha. Right? So, first request that I wanted to appeal to all of you is never call yourself Buddhist, especially with the Buddha, Buddhist. Because the word Buddhist is very religious, is a very religion. Buddha referring to figure, right? Oops. Okay. Yeah. And when we say Buddhist, right away we think of this plated statue. Wow, power, blessing, luck, right? And we do not have any identity to ourselves. It's like saying, who are you? I'm a son of that person. I have no identity, right? So it is a very unhealthy, as well as in the Dharma, in the teaching, we call ourselves follower, practitioner, or student of Dharma, not Buddha. If you follow Buddha, you are following an idol, you are following a human, including our teacher Gautama. He's a Gautama, right? Or Sachimuni said, it doesn't matter either I get enlightened as a Buddha or I do not get enlightened. Dharma has been always there, he said. Meaning Buddha said, I'm also a follower of Dharma. I did not discover something new. It's a Dharma that discovered Buddha in me. How beautiful. That really touched me so much, to the extent that I want Dharma to discover me as well. Literally, Buddha mentioned in one of the sutra that Dharma discovered me. I did not discover Dharma. Doesn't matter either I'm enlightened or not enlightened, Dharma has been always there, he said. It's so powerful, isn't it? So for us, Buddha is not a creator. Buddha is also created by the wisdom, is the knowledge. So what should we call ourselves then? If you want to use English word, say, I'm a Dharma follower. Who is Dharma? Now you, even subconsciously, it's so powerful. Oh, I'm a Dharma follower. For example, say, I'm a yoga practitioner. Who is the yoga? Is the action, is the knowledge. As we have to break that old habit. Put Dharma as a very important, prioritizing it, highlighting it. So, please, all the young people, don't say, I am a Buddhist. If you say, what religion? I say, I have no religion. Be cheeky. Say, no religion. I thought you are Buddhist. Oh, no. I follow Dharma. If you are believer, if you are practicing, say, oh yeah, I do practice Dharma. Then you get into deeper conversations. How it works. Let's talk. Any questions on that? I'm canceling Buddhist, replacing with Dharma. Why? Even our teacher Gautama said, I'm a practitioner. And literally in Himalaya, we call ourselves Chöpa. Chö is Dharma, Pa meaning one that it's with the Dharma. Dharma practitioner. How many people Dharma practitioner, then they're Buddhist? Nobody? You prefer to call yourself Buddhist still? Buddhist? You prefer still you call yourself Buddhist? How many people raise your hand? 2, 3. Okay, open the door. Wow, why you want to call yourself Buddhist? Give me an answer, gentlemen. Why? Why you want to call yourself Buddhist? Why? And who said call yourself Buddhist? In which book, page number, in the Sutra, Abhidharma, Vinaya, where it says you call yourself Buddhist? Where? Or Indonesia, you call Buddha yourself. Not. It's better to call Buddha than the Buddhist, because then there is an identity, right? All right. So before I delay further, I think we sit too long. So I get to see more beautiful face. I'll get up. Okay. So everyone knows Sikyamuni Buddha. Sikyamuni Buddha is one of the Buddha. We call it good period in this era, because there will be 1,000 Buddha. That means there will be 1,000 Buddha, meaning maybe few of us here, can become a Buddha as well. So that's why it's called good period or good timing, because there will be 1,000 Buddhas. So for even when you say Buddha, do not refer to something divine, supernature, kind of thing. We should not. As enlightened beings, someone that has attained meaning like us, and attain, a successful man. I always joke with people when we need to prostrate to statues. We have so many. Some people say, oh, in Himalaya you have too many gods. Avalokiteshvara, Vajrapani, these, that, so many statues. and said, it's too difficult. You have to prostrate so much. And I said the same thing. I said, I get always embarrassed when I need to prostrate to all these bodhisattvas. I was joking with them. Maybe in one of lifetime, I could be their boss, But I never practiced Dharma. My servant, my subordinate decided to be on the path of Dharma. Eventually, he got enlightened. Now I look at him and I bow, So my ego is not able to accept it. So the message I'm trying to share with you is, all the enlightened beings were one of us. Maybe economically, physically, they may be sometimes more underprivileged, in during contemporary time, right? But they found the Dharma, as Gautama Buddha said. They work hard. They put all their effort on the path, and now they are attained as enlightened beings. So here is Buddha is achievement, attainment. So this is, for many Buddhas, is Sakyamuni Buddha, who used to be right, a prince. You all know the story, right? Many people, I remember it was in Jakarta, I think, one of the young people asked, Rinpoche, why Buddhists are so poor? Always, So I don't know about us now, if we willingly stay poor. But for him, he decided to become a poor. If you look at the history of our teacher, he was not a beggar. He was not a poor man. He was born in a palace, right? In fact, a very successful. Up to 29 years old, he was married with the son. And there was no struggle, good health, having a great time. I get these questions from a wise people. The similar feelings of Gautama. They ask, what is the purpose of life? I said, Master, I came to see you because I want to know the meaning of life. My parents were successful. I don't need to work. I have a lot of pressure from my parents. But I don't see they are being happy. And now it's my turn. And I'm not excited. So this is exactly what Prince Siddhartha felt. Constantly, there's a lot of not stress, but pressure from his father, his wife. Quite sad, he never got to see his mother, right? And so when he was 29, right, he just decided to go and explore more if it's the same story everywhere. To cut a long story short, as you all know, if you do not know, please read on Buddha's life story. Outside, he was bubble wrapped, so he was not able to see much. But one of the outing, and he was a very caring and detailed person. So he saw death, aging, sickness. But he never saw that Then he asked, what's happening? Then his God told him, this is getting aging, sickness, death. Then he did a self-contemplation. My father is getting old. My mother died at my birth. And I see my foster mother is getting sick. I see my son struggle. There's nothing exciting. I'm 29 years old prince. He will be just another me. Even though born in the palace, we are on the same pipeline, So he was lost, and then say like, I don't want to be another prince. That's not my purpose. That's not my meaning of life. He was not like going to temple for good luck. Suddenly someone bless him. Oh, I decided to become a monk. Business is not working. Relationship is not good. There's a lot of pressure and stress. I must look for escape. To the extent, this is what it is now for the monks. I see many adolescent monk, older monk. You become older monk. You become monk after at my age or later. Then I asked Sifu or the venerable, why you became a monk? Oh, I retired, or then I'm not able to get another job. Then my master say I become a monk. Then saying that I'm staying at home I'm a home monk. There's a word called a home monk. There's no temple, but you wear monk robe, stay at home, and you depend on people's offering. This is why I said sometimes I'm not Buddhist. I definitely not, because it's so disheartening. It's very compassionate of Buddha. Someone has a livelihood, but the image of our spiritual value of the Buddha is dropping drastically. I was told in some part of China, early morning, if you see monk is a bad luck. Have you heard of that? Really? Because monks on arm begging, right? I'm on business trip, suddenly there's a monk. Oh no, run. Beggars bring bad luck. If they see a monk early morning is a bad luck. So, but now when we look at our teacher, he was not a loser. He was not a beggar. He was looking for meaning and the purpose of life. And he never had to look for donations or offerings. I remember a woman from Taiwan came to. I 100% agree with. This stays with me here. Long ago, it's just I think Asians, She was asking if I can find a monk that they're not looking for any donations. She said, I was in Taiwan. I support a temple of our tradition. We are big donors. We are given a VIP seat. There are poor people, don't even get a place to sit. We have a big badge, she said. This is not what we wanted from the temple. She said she is tired of her own tradition. Then she went to Thailand, adopted a tradition, different tradition. Always, the moment you see the venerable, there's a map, there's some asking for project. She said, we are tired of hearing money all the time. When you see you all, We want peace. We know we will serve you, but don't always keep on asking money, she said. You know. And then she said she went to China, to Tibet. Says same. Every temple you go, everywhere is stupa building, toilet building. Everyone is again asking for money. Then she said she went to Nepal. Same. Then I met her in Bhutan. She said, this is the 5th time I'm coming to Bhutan. I get to see the dark side of this. Now many people are asking for donations, she said. You know. Then she came to see me that I must answer this to her. You know. So I was sharing with her. In the beginning, I said we are used to being rich. So that's why we are looking for comfort. Because it comes from Prince Siddhartha. If you look at the history, the sutra of meeting father and the son was so beautiful. After he was enlightened, he met his father. Of course, father was very disappointed, right, when he decided to leave the palace. But when he returned, there were times that he met his son or his father, overwhelmed. And father became the patron and decided to offer everything. And Prince Siddhartha himself being a prince, all other princes were become king. And they were good friends. In fact, Prince Siddhartha was much better when they were prince. His knowledge, his talent. Yet this becomes so novice now. Everyone don't have to offer, but don't have to ask, but he was offered. It was very touching. At Voucher Speak, if you visit India, visit this garden park by King Bimbimsara. Almost 20 acres or some acreage. So now they developed into a nice park. To be honest, I really teared. And the history, Buddha visited only twice. It was offered a beautiful garden by the king. Says, for you to live, come and teach. In the bamboo grove. It's a huge land next to Voucher Speak. So, olden days, that in tradition, they don't need to seek anything. It is I'm sharing this story. There may be few of you maybe said, we prefer to have other religion because Buddhism is very poor and always look for donations. This is not the history. And today, I always also share with other people, including my own Sangha, we must stand tall. To be honest, I had a couple of people trying to buy me over. I will not name the person, not the country. There was someone told me, you be my private Rinpoche. Literally. How much do you need for your temple? You be my private Rinpoche. They said, I don't want to be in the crowd because people smells. The person has my compassion because there are some people think the money can buy everything, but unfortunately not the Dharma. And I also had a group of people long ago says, Rinpoche, you teach us, we will give you money. And right away say, keep your money, I'll keep my Dharma. I was much younger. Yet my temple is destroyed by earthquake. I needed financial support, but I did not buy that. Why? Because as I was talking about Nick's story, I don't want my boss to be embarrassed. I belong to a prince family, and here I'm begging money. People easily able to manipulate me, right? So this is for the youth. If you are a Dharma follower, be proud. It comes from a very successful people, family, who are not bothered by wealth. So any of you think Buddhists are poor, from the beginning, this is not right. Okay? Remember that. And also that's why I'll share a little bit. It's the reason why he left his palace from prince to the spiritual path. He saw sufferings. He saw no meaning on having more. He was missing his mother. As a powerful king, his father could not save his mother. He never saw his mother. He was very sad. He was like, what? What is all this? I was not even able to see my own mother. He was not able to stop his father getting old. So he was like, he knew that these are all coming. And then he needed an answer, a solution. So this is when he decided to look for answer. People call it meditating under the tree. It's not meditations. I would say it's a self-contemplation. Searching answer of why. Right. All right, let's go to the main subject now. So this is India always have long hair then, So he was, can you imagine, 29 years old, a very good-looking prince. He cut his own hair. Vanity. So like it's all this a problem. Is right now maybe shampooing, combing, pedicure, manicure, salon, right? All this is too much trouble. And so I just cut it. I don't want to keep the long hair. So he just cut, because I show this, it's so touching. And his God was like, what, Lord, don't do that, He said, you like it? You keep my hair, you keep my costume, you keep my horse, take everything. I think his story has a very beautiful message, especially those who are not able to find a meaning in life. You are still searching. Gautama was like us. Gautama was someone like that. So this was the decision he made, right? How old he was? Are you listening? 49. 29. Good. 49 or 29? 37. 37. No, Buddha said when he left. 29, right? Not even 30. I'm in my 40s. I still feel like there are a lot of things to do. I'm looking for more. Someone at 29 says, I'm done. How many of you feel you are done? Raise your hand. Please, old people, don't raise your hand because you're still a long way to go. How many of you think that I'm done? I'm tired? Really? One? Only one? Slowly? So heavy? Young people are not done yet? A lot of things happening? Is life happening? Excellent. So he said, 29, I'm done. Nikki, are you done? All right. It's so beautiful, isn't it? Instead of having Korean pop star, have his picture on your phone. When you have trouble, say like, yeah, my hero. I'm not able to do it. Right? And of course, then he contemplated for 6 years. Then 29 plus 6 is how much? 35. So when he was, in his 30s, I'll cut it short, okay? He refused to teach actually because everyone was so stubborn. He felt so helpless. And these are his best friend. They were used to be with him, right? So when he was requested to teach, and the first person he wanted to help were his best friend. That's why the expression we say, charity begins at home, right? So he look around and says, oh, those idiots, I'm going to help my friends first. 5 best friends. He walked almost 200 over kilometers to look for them. He was enlightened in Bodh Gaya. They were in Varanasi because they were offended by Buddha. So they wanted to run away from him, right? So Buddha chased after them. So the first teaching, Buddha did not do any blessing. He did not build any temple. It was in the park, under the tree. Says like, hey friend, sit down. He said, listen to me. And they were like, you are someone else. We were so upset with you, and we decided to not respect you or not talk to you. But you're so powerful. Actually, 5 of them said like, the cheater is coming. Don't talk to him. We pretend we don't see him. The moment Buddha approached, they all stood up, melted. And they said like, what is it that we are not able to resist you? So Gautama said, because of the enlightenment, I don't have that energy of yours. My energy is so pure. Then Buddha shared about the teachings, right? So, 4 Noble Truths mainly, right? And after that, because of being a prince, there were so many people, his own country of the Sicha, there were many people who were celebrating his life. So there are 100 into thousands, 10,000s followed, mostly men, because men were so tired. War, it's like constantly working. And most of them decided to become a monk because they were not able to find the meaning. So like, if he can give up his life, be peaceful, we are nothing, they said. I'm going to let go of my small business, my small affair, be with him. And they feel so home, they feel so peaceful. So that's how the first teaching of the Buddha was developed. Any questions? Raise your hand. Any questions? And the subject, what he taught, was something very simple. Nokia phone last time, black and white. Something very useful, sturdy, black and white, very simple. Similar to that, he says, straightforward. You find everything problematic, right? Buddha said, the first truth. The problem comes from your not having awareness. First, distance yourself because your minds are weak, the cause of the truth of suffering and the cause of the truth, right? And Buddha said, be on the path. There is a nirvana. Like you can become like me. Just do what I'm doing. So he promote simple, basic idea of 4 stages of developing your life. And thousands of thousands managed to gain little nirvana, a little freedom. Mainly from the struggle that they feel. So this is why also we call it Vinaya, mainly the body discipline. Too much of disciplining, running away, escape. And as a really, really wise teacher, Buddha, amazing. So he is like, he's a developer, for example, say, So first he gave a very mild, that's why teaching of the Buddha, Dharma, we say, depends on time, people, and the place. All his teachings were taught depending on the time, place, and the people. At that time, at that place, or those followers, this was just enough. Right? So Later, that was his early 30s. After that, he traveled again, couple of 100 kilometers. He moved to another province called Rajgir. It's called Speak. And there were only advanced students, such as bodhisattvas, and some of the senior, if say 10,000 of disciples, maybe 1,000 followed him. 9,000 were still there, as an example, okay, for your education purpose. Still stay in Varanasi. They were all happy in the forest. Buddha said, I'll come back after a few months, after this summer retreat. Oh, they will wait. For example, like our relationship, we comes once a year, So there's an interval of once a year. You have no idea what we did spiritually. So this is exactly how the story was. So Buddha left. Many of the smart followers followed. And Buddha was already in his 50s. So then Buddha decided to go a little bit deeper. One fine day at the Voucher's Peak on the mountain. Have you been to the Voucher's Peak? Anyone raise your hand? Nobody? You been? You remember there's it's smaller than this corner, right? Maybe this corner. Actual venue is this much, right? Think so? Very small, right? Very small. This is a very small place. But in the history, it says 10,000 listeners. There were 10,000 of students listening to Heart Sutra. The subject of, we call it signlessness. So it's a translation of Dharma word referring to Prashna Paramita, simple as a Heart Sutra. Mainly the topic. What I'm trying to explain here is physically not about 200 people, human being. Also mentioned in the text, Buddha always have around few categories of listeners. Human, devas, spirits, naga, and some animals. So I think physical human being may be only the entourage of the Buddha. Rest, all the bodhisattvas were like, I think levitating somewhere. And literally when I go there from this particular peak, when you look at it, it's huge ground. I say, oh, maybe this is Buddha's seat. Everyone was down. He doesn't need a loudspeaker maybe, because they're also advanced. Or maybe only little human were there. Everyone was like in the movie, Could be, right? And also the subject he taught was so advanced. To understand the Heart Sutra, ordinary beings cannot understand that. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it totally makes sense. So these are the evidence. This is my own finding. If literally human mind, 10,000 of people on this little mountain, how does it work? Can his voice reach to that couple of 100 meters down without loudspeaker? Oh, Buddha in the teaching history says there are many non-human followers. Bodhisattvas, devas, nagas. Oh, it makes sense. Or also says it's more advanced than the Four Noble Truth. The emptiness, the Heart Sutra. There were stories, some of the listeners, when they heard later, they literally had a, heart attack. Literally, they cannot digest that. They cannot accept that. In the history is recorded. So that's why teacher also decided to move out, choose really a right, remember place, time, and what is it? Or the student. So he chose a right time, right place, right disciple. So that is the second teachings. Now we call Mahayana, right? Of the actually Madhyamaka, Heart Sutras. Simple, I'm giving you an example. That is his second teaching. Okay. Last towards 70s, when he was in 70s, again he moved to another couple of 100 kilometers. Mostly only few human beings, bodhisattvas, mostly devas, mostly supernatural beings were the listener. And he gave the teaching on the Tantra. We talk about Buddha nature, right? Buddha nature. How many of you use the term called Buddha nature? Buddhahood? Buddhahood? In Theravada, we don't talk about Buddhahood. Mahayana, we don't talk about Buddhahood much. Tantra, we talk about Buddha nature, the Buddhahood. And he used that, saying, don't need to look so much. It's here with us. And that is the last subject. Very few people, very, very wise, advanced bodhisattvas, mostly non-human, because they have the supernatural power, And this is how he gives 3 major teachings, right? So this is the last teaching he shared on the Buddha nature. Meaning, now I will just summarize, okay? First teaching, if I explain into simple word, he said, oh, you all want to become like me? Run away from home like me. It's a problematic. Drop everything. Everything is poisons, impermanent, that, this, that. Mostly men, he look at it. Oh, these are crazy. They abuse women, So like, women are very dirty. Come, just follow me. No more women. Because mostly the men refuse to go. And if you look at it, Buddha saved a lot of women when he introduced the monkhood, Sangha. 10,000s of it was a man chauvinist kind of culture. Women were, abused. So he saved a lot of women by having those men become a monk, giving Dharma teachings. And every monk go and tell, hey, be compassionate, be kind. And it become an educator. Every family has one monk. It become a neutralizer, pacifier, help the family, So it was a very smart teacher. That's why some of you, when you read some of the sutra, Vinaya, say like, how come Dharma is discriminating women? Buddha was teaching man, not women then. All students were men. So he need to see what weakness the man has. And to stop that, to help that. Okay, so I'm talking about the gender here now. There, to also clear your unhealthy thoughts about Buddha or teachings, that is, to the extent women cannot become a Buddha. These are all indirectly trying to help encourage men to be on the path. Because otherwise they will have war. One Indian man then can have 3, 4. King Siddhartha himself, read in the history, his main queen and 500 another maidens. Meaning like, second wife, 500. One prince get to keep 501 women is a abuse. Is a woman abused? It's not even one-to-one relation. They cannot have any companion. Every powerful man will have 4 or 5 women. So he did a wonderful revolutions, for example, right? So first approach, this is how it happens. Buddha helped to simplify things, say run away. Many become happy. So the first teaching of the Dharma is about avoidance, avoid, run, separate. The second teaching Rajgiri in the Voucher Speak in the Heart Sutra, he says, maybe it's not the home is not the problem. Maybe it's not your family is the problem. Maybe it's you yourself. Then Buddha talk about examining oneself, having more wisdom to find within, searching cause and conditions, right? And he talks about the emptiness. Many realize, oh, actually we don't need to run away. We just need to have the wisdom to analyze, examine. Additionally, then he add, now do you feel more relaxed? And Gautama Buddha said, but there are many who are suffering. Then he introduced about loving kindness. During first time, he says, it's all about you. 5 khandhas are suffering, run away, get, arahatship, get yourself, self-realizations, get enlightened. The later Buddha said, no, it's not only you. There are many who are suffering. We must help everyone, right? So that is as even the way of thinking become broader, kinder. That's why we call Mahayana, right? And first teaching followers called Hinayana. It's not because they are lower. The way thought process is much narrower. Meaning like it's about my journey. It's about me living the samsara. So that it's more focused on self. That's why we call Hinayana. The step of small steps. Later, when it introduced about the Mahayana, says it's not only you open your arms and get more, then called Maha. So the thought process become much better, right? In the last part of the teaching, so Buddha said, it's not about examining about the philosophy. It's not about looking for more or examining. It's about achieving it. It says, you all have it. It says, don't need to ask. You all have that. I have the Buddha nature, Buddhahood in me. Potentially everyone has Buddha nature, he said. We all can become enlightened. The secret is you just go get it, he said. Don't need to run away. Don't need to look. Is there? Is it empty? Is it half full? Where is it come from? Is it me, my hand, my leg? As how the emptiness talks about it. Just don't. Just go grab. It is there. Just achieve. Just get enlightened. Isn't it so beautiful? But again, it was a different crowd, to a different place, different time, right? And at Vaishali, and he had 2 kind of sessions. One is even in the heavenly realm, discoursing about the final teachings of the tantras, So these are the main so-called 3 subject or teaching Gautama shared, right? So today we call it Theravada, Mahayana, Vajrayana. Yes, philosophy is different, approaches are different, disciplines are different, and also different purpose. That's why there is also an argument, right? Theravada will say, no, Mahayana is untrue. It's not Buddha's teaching. Only 1,000, I'm guessing 1,000 people followed. 9,000 of them never heard of it. So we do not blame that part. Buddha never taught Mahayana teachings to the Theravada. But those followers who followed knew Buddha had a teaching at Varanasi. And we get to listen to the deeper teachings. In the same way, Vajrayana again. Only the Bodhisattvas knew. The rest, no, they never. They are not even invited. They were not part of the so-called teachings. So the listeners, disciple become lesser and lesser, but sharper, more advanced student, disciples. Subject in the teaching become more profound. So this is how treat. But some of the teaching, so they about the Vinaya, the sudden standard. So all these teachings were put into as a subject 84,000, right? You all know this, right? There are 84,000 as a subject, 84,000. And later, all the bodhisattvas, they compile it together into 3 different groups as a grouping of the teaching called Vinaya, about the law, about the discipline, the Vinaya. Then there's a Abhidharma, and there's a Sutra. So and Tantra was, again, not obviously kind of a so-called introduced or established. It is a part of Abhidharma and Sutra. Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Is it too heavy? Is it too heavy? No, right? There. Any questions? No questions? Yes, please.
Was Buddhism originally a religion or a philosophy? It's a question here. Was Buddhism originally a religion or a philosophy?
Never a religion. It's an art. Definitely, if you use a simple word, it's a philosophy. And into the reality, getting into you could say art is the art of life. Using a layman word, but never idolization. And any of the teachings in Four Noble Truths, where does Buddha say, do worship me gold-plated, offer all the fruits, in front of me, you will be blessed and protected. Many of you know about Four Noble Truths, right? Where does the Heart Sutra says? So this is, after Buddha, how the teaching was continued, successor. There were many, right? So, namely, up to Nagarjuna was one of we also consider him philosophically. One of the great philosopher called Nagarjuna, number 8, in Nalanda University. And we regard him as a second Buddha. Up to him, there were 7, right? Actually, 6 from the Mahakassapa. So right after Buddha entered to Nirvana, Mahakassapa, so pass on. So if you look at, is it a cult? How the family business is continued? And from the Nagarjuna, it becomes so popular. Then already there's Nalanda University. They are all doing a lot of studies. And after some time, from the Buddha's time, slowly it become education in Nalanda University. That's why I was saying, this is not a monk robe. Even the monk, we borrow from Christianity. The monk is a Christian word. This is a uniform of Nalanda. Buddha decided to wear something very humble. That's why even the color is supposed to be a bit dull. Otherwise, Indian will wear always white, right? Or black. So then he chose color that is a bit dull, bit towards peace, saffron, maroon. And that's symbolizing shape, hair, with certain rules, humbling and simplifying the life. So this is talking about how it comes down, the success, right? And since you are asking, is it religion or a philosophy? This is exactly what Buddha said. It's to help awaken, enlightening yourself. I always say Dharma is the wisdom. It's like a light in the darkness. There are so many answers. There are so many solutions that can be born from the Dharma teaching. Not by sitting down in front of the Buddha statue. I don't think we get much answer. But if you study Dharma and contemplate and put it into a practice, then Dharma is like a light. Right? For us, okay, I use your word. Buddhism is temple, Mahayana, Theravada, Vajrayana, Chinese, what's that? Thai, Tibetan. Right? There's so many Buddhists, right? This is what Buddha said. He said, my teaching is only two. Dharma. Knowledge, scripture, right? Book, the wisdom that we wrote down. Knowledge. Knowledge alone is not enough, Buddha said. The whatever knowledge you gathered, then you have realizations on that knowledge. Right? Many young people do TikTok, right? First TikTok is the knowledge, how you do your hair, whatever, all these things, right? And then after that you master looking at. After some time, even wherever you can put your phone anywhere, you can do your TikTok, right? Knowledge and realizations. You realize how it works. So, Buddha said, only two, not many temple, not many sects. If you want to follow my path, Buddha said, first knowledge. Learn. Learn Dharma, Buddha said. Not from YouTube. Learn academically. So let's put it academic Dharma as an education. But do not stop there. Many also become the victim of learning Dharma, knowing the knowledge. Because you are not capable of putting it into a place. You know a lot of things, you are confused. Then you become critical. Then you want to examine everything. You are not able to get the right answer. You think you know a lot. Right? And you have no realizations. So that's why great master called Milarepa in Himalaya said, he says, knowledge is referred as a hearing of teaching. Anyone, again, there are few, just like to meditate without any knowledge. Just sit, just meditate. So Milarepa said, just sitting down without any knowledge is like a monkey, trying to take a nap. You have nothing. It's empty, It says it's like a disabled man trying to climb the mountain. You are incapable. So first, always, knowledge is. I'm talking about Dharma, okay? Knowledge. That's why many of us are worshipper. We worship. Just put joystick prayer. So we force teachings of the Buddha to be a religion. No knowledge. That's why I was asking, who said call yourself Buddhist? Simple questions, for example, why you even burn the joystick? Why do you even prostrate? Why? Do we have answer to it? There's so many things. Do you do this here for the Chinese in Medan? Singapore, they do Hong Kong, China. New Year, first day in the temple, you must run and put this joystick in front of the Buddha. Then it's supposed to be good luck. What does it mean? For us, this is a Buddhism, right? What knowledge is that? How does it work? Does it really bring a good luck to you? Right? So remember that knowledge and then realizations. And what to study? Is there anything to study? There are 84,000 subjects. There are hundreds and hundreds of volumes of book. Actually, we intend to have the set books here in the Bihara in the future. 109 volume of Buddha's Sutra, Vinaya, Abhidharma. It's not one book. And it was not like someone written it, to market Buddha's teaching. So after Buddha passed away, right away, there was always some, the wolf in the family. The mischievous was there from the beginning. So there was some of the Sangha trying to be naughty. Unintentionally maybe says, no, our Buddha used to say that. No, Buddha told us that, this. And right away, after Buddha passing on, they did the first counseling, compiling the teachings. Says say Buddha passed away, everyone trying to all learn it. Say, no, stop. Let's sit down, all the key people, all the main persons, all the bodhisattvas, right? So mainly, right? 500 arahats, not monk, right? And then mainly the Upali, Ananda himself, Mahakassapa as a Buddha's representative, they were the chair, and they did a council of all the Buddhist assembly and getting it together. Of course, patroned by the king. So then in the country is well governed. King is aware of that. And king actually also requested, says, we cannot afford to have fake teachings. It's a very high risk. So right after Buddha, the same year during summer retreat, simple word, they did the consolidations of the teachings. So that explains Buddha Dharma is very, very pure. It's not a cult. It's not somebody tried to fabricate a story in between. It was well governed, well managed. Right? Then second time, after 110 years, again some of them trying to be mischievous. There's already a document, and then if anyone added any notes, so then again, before it's too late, all the senior arahat, everyone got together, did a second time, revisiting the teachings of the Buddha. And the third, so after Buddha, another word, they did the research 3 times, simple word, to check that nobody is doing anything, past in the 500 years. And it become really pure. Then by the Nagarjuna, all these amazing masters were there. So it was very safe after that. Any questions? Any questions on that? The datas are depend from the history of Himalayan record from the teachings. Any questions? All right. So Gautama Buddha gave 3 major teaching. Right? After he passed away, they did 3 major council of the compiling the teachings together. This is very important for us to know that Dharma is so not contaminated, as pure, and we have the unbroken lineage. Right. And it's very interesting, right? Zen Buddhist, Thai Buddhist, Tibetan Buddhist. Now this is what we call, we are very biased, we are very sectarian. And it's the same Buddha, but look at the face and the figures, you know. My English is a self-taught. This is how I decided to learn English. In 2002, when I went to Thailand, the Buddha in Thailand looks like a Thai. And I was like, which Buddha is this? Because I'm not used to that Buddha. Then I went to Sri Lanka. The Buddha in Sri Lanka looks Sri Lankan. In China, we have different Buddha. Japanese has a different Buddha. I said, who are they? You know, they're totally like not even brothers. Huh? They don't even look like a brothers. Do they look like a brothers? But it's the same person. So then I decided to study, and we only talk about general Dharma. I mean, the historic Dharma, not Thai Buddhist. We talk as a Theravada or, you know. We talk about Mahayana. We don't talk about Chinese or Japanese. We talk about Vajrayana. We don't talk about Mongolian, Tibetan, or. So it was very confusing for me as well. So this is how I, you know, learn to read and understand English. So I get other materials from the other country. And I'm sure many of you are also confused. So let's talk about the school after that, how it becomes so complex, right? Theravada teachings, sorry, I use the word Hinayana, right? Because it's for the education purpose. It's nothing to do with lower or lesser, you know. It's the first step. It's a small step Buddha made. After that, Mahayana. After that, ultimately, Vajra is the peak, like putting the roof, right? You know. So, as a school philosophy, there are two major. There are 18 different schools in Theravada, which may be not available anymore. But these are the two major. How they become two major? Did Buddha separate it into two? No. They decided to explain on the teachings on the Buddha, you know, and they have their own conclusions and grouping, and very stubborn. Very stubborn. They say, no, this is our teacher said that about, you know, Abhidharmas and teachings like that. So they split into two. Not because of politics, not because of asset, because of understanding of Dharma. So, the Vivashika believes more on commentaries part, right? And Sutra Titikas believe more into Buddha's pure command teachings. And their final conclusions on certain views are different. But otherwise, they are following the Theravada tradition. Just for your knowledge. So that's why they say it's a culture, you know, even Thai, Sri Lankan, Burma, they have different color of dress. We call it different temple. So the certain deeper final conclusions of their understanding can be little different, you know. And that's in the Mahayana. Right? For Mahayana, so there are also two schools in Nalanda University that they had a bit of argument in the studies. I don't know. So one is called Chittamatra, mainly focusing on the mind. You know, solely talking about the mind functions, which is very beautiful teachings. But towards the final explanations, there's a disagreement. Then they are called Madhyamakas. And Madhyamaka has a profound explanations, mainly on emptiness, called middle path, or we call it ultimate truth, the wisdom. For us, it's just a knowledge. It's about realizations. These are talking about the result towards the end. For example, maybe use a very layman word. What is enlightenment? For example, say. And when you get enlightened, what is your conclusions, for example? So they have 4 different conclusions. It says, this is the ultimate. And the other one says, no, this should be the ultimate. So finally, the wiser one mostly agree on Madhyamaka, Mahayana of Nalanda, especially after Nagarjuna. So in the studies, highest view, we call it, not the viewing, highest understanding, highest respect is the philosophically Madhyamaka. All 3 has definitely very profound, but the Madhyamaka is the ultimate, especially view on emptiness, view on middle path. So that is, so where does it talk about worshipping? We don't talk about the design of the temple, the size of the statue, No, nothing like that. It talks about the mind factors, the knowledge. So these are some of the great philosophers of both the Mahayanas school, amazing masters. They're all great professors in Nalanda University. They have thousands of students with them studying, not praying, but studying. Anyone visited Nalanda University? You should visit. It's very, very inspiring. It's a university, how they study. So these are the successor of Buddha's teaching in the philosophy. These are the titles given to those masters, like 2 heroes, 6 heroes, for example. So these are still some great masters. So that is the tradition of how Theravada and Mahayana, right? Any questions? Any questions there? No?
Why did Buddhism completely vanish from India by 13th century? Why did Buddhism completely vanish from India by 13th century?
Mostly there was Hindu and Islam, sorry to be very honest, was very aggressive, and it also so-called that prediction that it will be more beneficially from India. It was predicted it will go to Himalaya, from Himalaya to the west, so it was already kind of making aspirations, as I was saying, the one world, right? So to travel the Dharma, and so they were conditioning from other factors as well. Quite ugly. Yeah. So and of course, if you read the King Ashoka's history, you will know a lot. It was quite sad. King Ashoka had to send Buddha's tooth relic to Sri Lanka, hiding on his daughter's hair. He was a very powerful, but there were other religions who were fighting, killing everyone. And being a Dharma follower, he doesn't want to fight. But he wants to really save the truth of the Buddha. So then he's hidden inside the hair of his daughter, saying that I'm marrying my daughter to a Sri Lankan prince. Mainly the reason is to travel that tooth to Sri Lanka. Kandy, you visited? In Kandy, there's Buddha's tooth, right? In Kandy. It was from India. So around that time. Before that though, around, anyway, bad timing. So it was nothing that is unhealthy, but there were many attacks. All right, let's jump to a Vajrayana a little bit. Okay, so it's a Tantra teachings. And Pemasambhava is predicted by Buddha himself. So I will return from the lotus. As Gautama Buddha, again, remember, first teaching, second teaching, he mentioned it to the second and third group. He says, I will return from the lotus. A specific year, after 10 years, 10 to 12. As Buddha predicted, he was born from the lotus. Those, since you all Amitabha follower, it was a he's a double manifestations. Buddha's manifestation as well from Buddha Amitabha. And I don't know how many of you know about his life story. He was adopted by a king. The reason there was a king, apparently now is in Pakistan, the country. King had no children. So he always prayed to Amitabha, to Buddha Amitabha to help him. King was almost 80 years old, no children. He was hopeless. So one day, one of his minister went to collect flowers in the lake. There was 8 years old boy from the lotus and the Buddha Amitabha on the mountain. Then the minister ran to the palace, says, Your Majesty, your prayers is answered by Buddha Amitabha. We found your son. He could not believe, but he went to check. It was on the lotus, this little 8 years old boy. And there was a light from the Amitabha, because king always prayed to Amitabha, right? Meditate on Amitabha. Then he was so happy. He invited to the palace. He was same story, very smart. But in teenagers, he was not happy in the palace. He was married with a wife. I remember also a child. That part now I'm getting confused, too many stories. I think also had a son, And father refused to let him go for Dharma practice. He wanted to follow Ananda practice, because same time, only after 12 years of Buddha, he was born. Father refused to. And he did something very naughty. Then he was somehow sent off, So after that, quite something. From 500 BC to 8th century, he was alive. Almost 1,000 years, right? And finally, in 8th century, when there was this king of Tibet who was so much into Buddha Dharma, and there was a Mahayana master who was helping the king, and Tibet was not civilized. There were many harm, many spirits. Then king was so disappointed and requested the master, I'm very saddened. I want to have the Buddha Dharma in Himalaya. He says, two of us, we build temple in the daytime, in the night, destroyed. Our monk becomes sick. So much problem. Can you do something? And then the Master Bodhisattva said, I am a Mahayana master, took a vow to not even harm a little insect. Says, I cannot break my vow. Of course, he had the power to subdue, but he says, I will not harm even a single insect. But king, don't be disappointed. We do have a karma that we can establish Buddha Dharma in Himalaya. Then the master introduced Pema Sambhava to the king. He says, there is this divine master. Brief history of him. Send people to invite him. He will take care of everything. I'll take care of Mahayana. He will take care of the skillful means of pacifying all this. Maybe we put into our infrastructure. I will be the software. He will take care of all these things, management. Then king was not confident. Says he may not come. Says I will also send my request. We know each other, and you send your troops. We have a karma to be establishing Buddha Dharma in Himalaya. So as king sent an invitation, he agreed and he traveled to Himalaya in 8th century. And he is known as a Padma Sambhava, meaning born from the lotus. No parents. Padma is the lotus, right? Sambhava. So, birth from the lotus. We heard of superhero in the movie, but in the history, there is definitely. We say is because he's still alive. That's why many practitioners on the 10th and 25th, we meditate on him. Once our karmas are lesser, is you are able to actually communicate and be connected to him. It's quite amazing. Anyway, so this is mainly teaching was taught by Gautama, but further developed to be more as Gautama Buddha himself promised. So during Pema Sambhava time, then it went into like more details. So once it traveled to Himalaya, there is, now we all call Vajrayana, this one, but there are actually 8 different schools in Himalaya. Popularly, we call only 4 schools, right? But actually, there are 8 schools, just for your knowledge. Right? So these are the 8 schools. Earliest one is the Nyingma, then it goes to the Nyingma, meaning 8th century translated. Anything after 8th century, we call it letter translated. So all the other school group into the letters of translating after 8th centuries. So that's why if you are thinking, what is later translated? What is earlier translated? Earlier translated is in the 7th, 8th century. Earlier latest translation comes from 9, 10, 11, 12, and so on. Now let's go a little bit more details into Vajrayana. Remember, I was talking about in the Mahayana 2 subdivision, Theravada 18 subdivisions. As a philosophy, teachings. Even in Tantra, like Theravada and Mahayana, we have outer and inner Tantra. Just for your knowledge, since Vajrayana is also becoming quite accessible, right? Good to know some knowledge. In outer Tantra, the teachings are called Kriya Upa Yoga. All the teachings, meditations are little different. Then inner Tantra, we have Mahayoga, Anuyoga, Ati Yoga. The word yoga meaning practice, right? It's quite intense. So it's the yoga, right? So there are 6 types of yoga of Tantra, of inner and outer. From that, since I am representing someone here, we are from the inner Tantra. Inner Tantra, especially Nyingmas, they practice more on Ati Yoga, the ultimate subject. Any questions? Is it too much? It's just information, right? History. As all the history, just keep it in the book, don't worry. And in the inner tantra, in Nyingma, is Anuttara, no, this is Ati Yoga as well. Yeah, Lame, yes. Yeah. Which, no, so they are from the Mahayoga, Anu Yoga, Ati Yoga, right? From Anu Yoga Tantra has 3 subdivisions, right? From the 4, if you go into details. But generally, just put in 3 right now. 3 outer, 3 inner. So, for example, medicine Buddha practice is from the Ati Yoga. That's why practice are very short, you know. And then right away, for example, you meditate yourself as a medicine Buddha. You know, quite intense. So some of the practice you will never meditate yourself as a Buddha, for example. On some of the yogas, you just respect, and you will not think yourself as a. So Ati Yoga is going to the deeper. You have the Buddha nature, you be the Buddha. So that is the, for example, approach. It's quite. This is why people loosely say the word Vajrayana is the fastest way to get enlightenment. I don't know if it's the fastest. It depends on the place, time, people. It may take forever, right? But there is some differences like that. So in the yoga of Nyingma tradition, right, there are from the Buddha to Kassapa all the way, you know, to Pema Sambhava is called karma. It's called commands of the Buddha. The words of the Buddha is carried down. The book, the subject. Ka meaning commands of the Buddha, words of the Buddha. Even in Tantra itself. So karma on the Tantra, we have about 140 volumes of book. 140 volumes. Not the sutra, not the kanjur. Karma is separate again. So karma alone, and these are that Gautama Buddha taught from the Kassapa, Nagarjuna to the Pema Sambhava, developing the meaning on the teachings, the Tantra itself. And beautiful thing Pema Sambhava did in 8th century. Then the tradition of Terma. Have you heard of Terma before? So the tradition of Terma is a very, very, very beautiful. Say for example, okay, 270 volumes of book that is on the karma of Tantra teachings. What taught in Tibet by Pema Sambhava to all the disciples. Carried. And also that informations, I'm not discounting Mahayana, right? Especially our China Mahayana. Xunsang, right? His name, the Venerable Xunsang. Only one master went all the way to Nalanda and transferred Heart Sutra, Diamond Sutra, right? And later, a little bit of traveling back and forth. But 8th century, Himalayan was so lucky because it was patented by the king. And it was the only education. King sent 100 of Tibetan children to study in India. Of course, many of them died as well because of the heat. King invited 100 of translators, masters from University of Nalanda, to be in Tibet, to workshop on the Dharma. So now I share this example. It's like 100 terabytes sent down to download, 100 terabytes bought up. So basically, example, 200 terabytes of informations King of Tibet managed to transfer. Right? From our other part of the world, even the giving 1 terabyte credit, maximum 5 terabyte maybe, because we are not fortunate. We are not able to pay that much of, so-called somehow, right? So this is why Someone was asking, right, why Dharma was disappeared from India. There was a prediction that Dharma will travel all the way to Himalaya. And during 8th century, it was that successful, and they also realized there was a threat. So Indian masters were willing to go to Tibet. Says it's a safe place for us to keep our Dharma. King was so determined to have Dharma, sent hundreds of people, including second Buddha, Pemasambhava. So Himalayan were very lucky in that way, right? And something more beautiful, what they did is, not only the Mahayana Sutra part, in the Tantra part, king requested, says, don't teach everything. Can you do something? He requested the Buddha, teacher, Pemasambhava. Instead of teaching everything now, for future generations, can we keep some teachings? Maybe you teach handful of your disciple with the password, for example. Exactly, this is how it works. That's why we always say, as a Dharma follower, Dharmas are more advanced, ahead of science. Science is coming later. Really, the password, software, hardware. There were enlightened disciple of Pemasambhava. He taught we call it Dakini sign language, and they pass, with certain sign, and then the prediction. So till another 200-300 years, that person will become like very ordinary. When the time has come, these people can connect the Terten, we call it, the one who discovered the teaching, can connect back to the 8th century in the screen. Some of these are amazing, and it's not even a fake story, right? So, for example, most of the teaching were duplicate and hidden as a treasure. Ter meaning treasure. And Pemasambhava said, give job description to everyone. 10th century, 11th century, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th century, where you will be born, what you will discover. It's very fascinating how they discover, especially these are, for example, some of the statues, right? It's also sometimes statues, sometimes some of the things they hide, but mostly the teaching as well. For example, this is also a Dharma teaching, right, today. And this is amazing. Sometimes those treasure revealer can be a very normal people, like faking. So up to 20s, they become like lay people, doesn't know much. Suddenly one day, maybe I should not say that, because few of you think, oh, I'm maybe a Terten, one day I'll become a Terten, right? All the Tertens already came, nobody will be a Terten, okay, by the way, you don't get inspired. So in the history, those Terten, suddenly they get snapped, and but it's a prediction there already. It says, this person born to such parents, they will discover such teachings. It's already predicted. When the time arrives, those Terten will come, and the most amazing part is encrypted on the small stone sometimes. So say I'm the treasure revealer, and it's not always someone claiming to be a revealer. There will be always a witness. A witness go to the mountain, sometimes to the rock, sometimes into the lake, sometimes in the old statue in the temple, and they will discover that particular, say sometimes it's just a stone. And the master that not even, studied any Dharma can just look at that stone and write 10, 20 volumes of the book. Amazing. And it's like looking at a screen. If you look at it, what is it? It's called, we call it symbol lineage, amazing, really. So these are all the, it was thanks to the king as well as the Tamasambhava. Then so how did it happen is, for example, say if he's the person, personally, secretly, I teach everything. After that, then encrypt it. So you don't share with anybody. But I'll say after 200 years, then you continue. So that's why if you look at it, close lineage and distance lineage. What do you mean by distance? That means from Buddha time to till now is 3,000 years. There are chances teaching got maybe contaminated. But the termas, we have to minus those years from 8th century till, for example, we follow one of our school called Pamalingpa, is in 15th century. So from the 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 700 years minus. So teachings are like, that's how we connect. Minus whatever the idle time and connecting it. So teaching, that's why we call it close lineage. Why? Because the teaching is still closer to us. There are hundreds of years were idle. So this is why we call the Terma teaching in Vajrayana, especially in Nyingma and Kagyu tradition, considered to be very precious. And it's very interesting. In the Nyingma tradition, how the lineage, right? How the teaching is like a channel from the teacher, from the Buddha, how these teachings are family trees, how it can come to, the lineage. Remember I was talking it's symbolic, through the stone, through the statue, from the teachers or, teaching. So popularly in Himalaya right now, Vajrayana, don't call Tibetan, okay? Vajrayana in Himalaya, they are mainly major four. Nyingma, right? Sacha, Kagyu, Giluk. Kadamba Giluk is a subdivision of that. And there's a Bon traditions, just for knowledge here. So this is very popular for us. This is our history, right? Does it sound similar? Oh, you're a Tibetan Buddhism, It was very funny. 15 years ago, I was in Switzerland. Of course, I do have a connection with the received teachings from His Holiness Dalai Lama. So I was giving some sharing of Dharma. And very new to teaching, but excited by His Holiness Dalai Lama. So that lady was asking, "Oh, you Dalai Lama?" Then I look at her and said, "Dalai Lama? Who is that?" "Dalai Lama, you don't know?" I said, then she got really, really shocked. It's a French spoken, She was talking to her friend. "You know Dalai Lama?" I said, "No, I don't know Dalai Lama." And she said, "You, Dalai Lama, same." I said, "No, I'm from Bhutan." That was very funny. She never heard of Bhutan. Bhutan? Dalai Lama, no, Bhutan. And I say, "I'm from Bhutan." Bhutan? Then her friend explained, as a country is from Bhutan. "Ah, Bhutan. You have car?" She said, it was 2008. "You have car in your country?" I said, "No, we swing from tree to tree." It took 2 years for me to arrive Switzerland. I said, swing, swim, wow. So Tibetan Buddhism, right? These are, as a Buddhist, calling Tibetan Buddhism, is a Vajrayana of Tantra teachings. Not only Tibet, Bhutan has been always independent. Nepal, Mongolia, Himachal of India, of course Tibet, mainly the source. There are 5 pure country that is Vajrayana system. So we don't call it Tibetan Buddhism. It's called Vajrayana. And which school? For example, Mongolia has more Giluk. Of course, Tibet has all the 4 schools. Bhutan has more Nyingma and Kaju. Nepal has a more similar. Ladakh, has combinations of Giluk and Kaju, for example. The traditions are different. So there's no Tibetan Buddhism, right? From the Mahayana, Vajrayana is the Vajrayana teaching. Then there's a Thai Buddhist. Many of us say, oh, I follow Thai teacher, I'm a Thai Buddhist. Is a Theravada, right? Similarly, Japanese Buddhism. By the way, Buddha never went to Tibet. So impossible we can have a Tibetan Buddhism. Buddha never went to Thailand. Buddha never went to Japan. Yes, Buddha went to Sri Lanka. Buddha never visited China as well. I was joking. Someone said, I travel more than Buddha. He was very boring. Only went to Sri Lanka twice. Otherwise, Vaishali, Rajgiri, Bodh Gaya, walking for like 200, 300 kilometers. Is the name of our. So what I want to say is these are wrong informations. Okay? Instead, Ayana, Vajrayana, and how it goes to the country, right? Firstly, of course, 500 BC, it was in India, right? Sorry, because Buddha was born in Nepal, so we give a little credit, after separations, right? And if you look at it after that, remember Buddha time, she went to Sri Lanka, the earliest country. And after that, King Ashoka's daughter, King Ashoka sent his daughter to teach Dharma other part of the planet of Southeast Asia. So she went to Thailand, Burma, mainly the Theravada teachings then. Colombia, yeah. And check, Myanmar. So credit goes to King Ashoka again, who brought this Dharma to those countries. Another successful king. This is why maybe you don't like it. I always tell people it's a rich man's club. Do you understand? Dharma was art philosophy is a rich man's club. We have nothing to worry. We talk about meditations. We talk about philosophy. Is our art. Loved by successful. And be people who are tired of nature of life. Then Vietnam. So in 8th century, right? 1st century, it went to China, as you all know. Then the Korea, Japan, known as the Mahayana teachings. Yeah. 7th century to Himalaya, Bhutan, same time, also Nepal. So this is geographically how it traveled. Yeah, sorry. That's a big insult. I mean, Indonesian. Thank you. Have to put Indonesia. Indonesian people forgot to put Indonesia. Because it's not available anymore. See? Oh, I forgot about the Bihar. Yeah. So, what? Remember the century? But we also don't have specifically what yana was that. Say some say Borobudur is Atisha is a Mahayana. Yeah. 10th century. No, Atisha was 10th century. What century was? What is the record says? Thank you. See, I said know it better. Not only you know better, I get to know better too. So I'm very happy when people are like that. Be open and ask questions or help us to correct informations. Right? Any questions otherwise? Yes, please. Shout, it's okay. Tired? Maybe Mahayana become later, So this is based on certain research, but completely we left out the Indonesia. Now that there's a many Mahayana too. And Vajrayana is also growing. Yeah, a lot. Thank you. Yep. And any more questions? It's towards the end now. So please try when you yes, please.
Yes, people want to ask about the Theravada, Mahayana, and Vajrayana. A lot of people say that these three yana, actually the final destination is just the same with different vehicle. But just now, when Rinpoche, you give your teaching, like I believe Buddha never do something without purpose or without meaning. So when Buddha um, at the beginning on the first enlightenment, Buddha actually do not really want to teach, you say. But after that, he decided to teach. After walk like 200 kilometers. After that, after several years, Buddha even teach more higher teaching, which called Mahayana, and even more higher, which specific disciples, specific bodhisattva come to listen. So my question actually is the final destination the same for the three yanas? Is it correct or not correct? That's my question.
You're cornering me, huh? I'm going to answer it in a very layman's word, okay? Say, for example, if we wanted to get out of Indonesia, right? If we want to get out of Indonesia, the safest safe haven, that is safe place we want to stay by anything, right? Economically, health, infrastructure. So first thing is we have to get out of the current place, which is samsara, right? For sure, we have to get out of it. So now, if you say, I want to get out of my place here, you definitely have to take off and get out of the place of Indonesia, for example. Now your destinations are different. Some can go to Singapore, more expensive, but there's a lot of things. Some can go to Malaysia, some can go to Thailand. Right? All these three has a different traditions, different environment, different comfort, but all three, say 3 brothers go into 3 different places. We all definitely came out of Indonesia. We are not in the so-called samsara. But we have our comfort zone separately. Does it answer? So it's yeah. So but all out of samsara. But final destinations, or I will put it another way. I want to go end of the road. There is a danger, But you run about 50 kilometers, it's all safe zone. But the safest is in 100 kilometers. But some of us, 50 kilometers is so tiring, but we all run towards that 50 kilometer. Some just in the safe zone, I'm fine. I'm not going anywhere, enough here. Stay at the safe zone. Some said, there is a safer place. We work hard, we invest more, we go further. And some said, this is maybe enough, it's too tiring, Maybe it's the middle way is the way we want, settled. But there are again some, I want to go till the end. And there's some go all the way. But to be furthest. But that furthest one that has to definitely pass. Have to cover that. Right. So now to the point, as you just asked. Ultimately, this is how we look at it. Not we look at it structured. We become Arahat or Pritayaka Buddha from the Theravada approach. You can argue, right? And from Mahayana, we go to the level of Bodhisattva. And to the Buddhahood through the Vajrayana. That's why, remember, a subject called Buddha nature is also taught in the Tantra. It's a bad karma to say that we can have the Buddha nature otherwise. You can be freed from samsara, but attaining the whole. That's why even the meditation, those few of you who are today with their practice, remember I was telling you, meditate yourself as a medicine Buddha. If you are new to it, what is that? I cannot. I'm not qualified to be a Buddha. I want Buddha to be on my crown. Feel much better. Right? Some of you even feel uncomfortable prostrating to a human being. I prefer a statue. Why should I bow to a human being? Because you are giving on the face value of human, not the Buddha nature. That's why Vajrayana, sometimes some master will not eat meat, not because of animal rights or anything, because there's a Buddha nature. That's why we do not cross people, because there's a Buddha nature. That's why there's a gender right. We respect everyone in the equalities, because it doesn't matter either you're a man or a woman, you have the Buddha nature. It's so beautiful and powerful, practice. So that's why we call it purity, transformations in the Vajrayana traditions. But again, in Vajrayana itself, there are many yogas of practices that translate into a different practice. All right, so this is 3 levels of enlightenment. Okay, but as I said, even Pritayaka, Arahatship, definitely out of samsara. Nirvana is already attained. So if your wish is to attain nirvana for yourself, best is the Theravada. Faster, right? Alone, better. But if you care for sentient beings, then it has to be on Mahayana. I saw post somewhere, forwarded to me. There was a Mahayana monk said, "I'm done with Bodhisattva's lifestyle," he said. Have you seen that? He says it's too expensive to be Bodhisattva. He doesn't want to come back, he said. It was a very good sense of humor. Because as a Bodhisattva, you're supposed to come back again and again to help, right? He says he don't want the Bodhisattva way. Life is so expensive. This life is the last. Next life, he said he don't want to come back. Yeah. So this is his basic, so-called. So as the gentleman was asking, we all trying to get out of samsara, the first thing, to discontinue the rebirth, right? The first step is to help ourselves. Then the second part of Mahayana is to help others too. And the Vajrayana, transforming everything into the Buddha's nature. That's why if you visit Himalaya, you will see a lot of crazy things. You will see the footprint on the rock like a magic, You will see suddenly from nowhere there's a water coming in. It's all about transformations. Transforming ordinary into the nature of so-called enlightened beings or the enlightened nature. All right, so this is what it is. If you have any questions, otherwise please go and transform into this night owl. Right? Yeah. This is the last, right? Yeah. So yes, please.
Namo Buddhaya Rinpoche. May I please request for you to explain the inner and outer tantra just like briefly?
It's mainly in the approach, if it's put in the way we practice, in tantra ways outer tantra will be little slower, steps by steps. Inner tantra will be like boom. But again, it depends on so that's why they chose, that's why it's a fashionably looking for guru, mainly because of there's a little danger into it, meaning not able to, if it's a dosage, right? You can have a higher dosage, but there should be another balancing it. So it says like, oh, this is a very good medicine, just have a high dosage, for example. So that's why literally we say teacher is like a doctor, So with the guidance from the teacher, progressively developing it, So these are the mainly into the practice, even the approach. So for example, okay, since many of you are now available on internet, you can read. Maybe it's not right now, yeah. So, quite interesting. And once you are on the path, you will understand it completely makes sense, So that's why it says differences is have to have a sharp student. Tantra said this for anyone, but only with those who has a great wisdom to understand. And how do we know that we are the right student? That's why we need to have the right teacher to guide us. So the teacher will be careful to help us on that's why there are many teachings. If teacher do not give oral transmission, we call it, you are not allowed to read. Many tantra book you are not allowed to study or self-studies. Teacher will only after teacher reading, explaining to you, then you practice. So we call it empowerment, oral transmission. It's quite in a good way, quite controlled, so that a student can really so-called develop. Yeah. But unfortunately, we are losing it somehow, the way. So also then the effect of the teaching is also not there. You know, yeah, we're compromising a lot. Yes, please.
Know a little about Nayana. In Vajrayana, I learned about it, but until now still lost. Still lost. Feel so many things. Still, how? I want to ask, how can we know that? I think the most important is guru for me. I need a guru that uh, that I'm searching for a guru because I think guru is the most important. So how can we know that the guru is uh, actually switch us or yeah, that's it. I don't know how to say. Jadi bagaimana kita bisa tahu bahwa saya guru ini tepat untuk kita, untuk perjalanan spiritual kita dalam menghadapi dunia yang moralitasnya sudah sangat turun dengan budaya kita. Oke, thank you.
Check. Very good questions. What are you looking for? What are you looking for? Are you looking for a human? Are you looking for a teaching?
I need a solution for my maybe a path way our yang saya butuhkan itu jalan untuk menghadapi segala masalah-masalah yang datang dalam hidup dari akibat-akibat dari keputusan kita. Like we are maybe we are married, we have children, but we need to survive in this our budaya di mana semuanya itu money is the most important element, and everything talk about money, and feel so exhausted with their expectation, and we must mengubah our perspective, our prinsip, mengubah prinsip kita demi money, just for take care of children or be untuk bisa mencapai ekspektasi.
So you don't need a teacher, you'll need a business partner. No, really. Actually, to be honest with you, I'll be honest with you, okay? Many of you don't need guru because you are not even ready. You know, many of you don't even practice. I'm the victim of abuse teacher myself. I really wanted to help people, you know, but in the beginning, you pretend you are devoted. Once you are really serious on the path, for example, we have practice to do, people are not good at that. For example, myself, I teach people, they don't come attend class. And why you need teacher? And it's a headache when you have problem, then you let your teacher know. Teacher get headache, how, you know, worried that you may get heartbroken, you may get depressions. And And even then, if he's super rich, is okay. You can't even support the teacher financially in millions of dollars, So we have both losing, generally speaking. You get what I mean? So first thing, we need to prepare ourselves that we really want to practice. Children, Vajrayana, children, wife, everything can be still there, but you can practice. For example, I'll give you a simple example. I'm able to commit 1 hour every day to practice under my teacher's guidance. Number 2, I will listen whatever my teacher says. Spiritually speaking though, but make sure you also have the teacher who will only tell you to do a spiritual work. Then you are prepared. Then some of us, we struggle, we're thinking maybe there's a guru who can pray for you, maybe I'll have a good luck. It's not true. Even teacher don't have a good luck. You get what I mean? We struggle with our own good luck. So first, forget about finding the teacher. You get yourself prepared, get ready. How do I get ready? Like Prince Siddhartha. I do care for my wife, children, husband. Everything is important. But for how long? I am questioning, what am I doing? I'm so tired. I do so much, still not enough. There's a question lingering somewhere. How long can I sustain like this? I definitely need to look for a solution, meaning of life. Then we don't need anybody. Look at Prince Siddhartha. He found meaning of life from the Dharma path. Maybe this is the path I choose. But not like him, cut your hair living. Because thanks to him, he also taught the Vajrayana. Maybe I choose the Vajrayana so I can still practice my Dharma. I can still look after my family, but with wisdom and practice. Then who is able to teach me that? So you don't look for a human, you look for what you need. I need teacher who can help me with this. Who has that? For us, for example, two of my teacher is conditioning default because of the history, because of they're all amazing teacher, and I was studying in that monastery. My main teacher, I was looking for the teaching. That teaching was available in that teacher. And I'm so lucky I also found the right teacher. So, but there are two approaches, there are two conditions. Sometimes you don't know about the teaching, but you really, really inspired, not you like the teacher. Also, we have a problem. Sometimes you like the teacher, you just like that person. And then you want to be with that person. It's like falling in love. You just love that human being. Very unsafe, very unhealthy. And you want that teacher to give you attention, to prioritize you. And sometimes teacher also the same. Then it's a very ordinary human relationship. So what do we look on the spiritual relationship is? It can be anybody. I think don't need to be Vajrayana. It could be anyone. But that particular teacher really inspires me. Not only his teaching, his lifestyle, his thought process. Then you do a little bit of research. Who is he? Right? There are many good people who can pretend. Is there any history? What is the background, the family tree? Hopefully it's not a scam. Right? For example, especially including, we talk about it, Theravada monk, Mahayana, Vajrayana. I prefer if they come from a monastery setting, or including Vajrayana. There are many home monk. Is a monk where you stay. I stay at home. What happened to your temple? Oh, temple, and I cannot get along. If you cannot get along with the temple, you definitely cannot teach me. For example, I definitely cannot get along with you too. So unfortunately, we see in the cities, there are many wandering monks. wandering teachers. It's also risky if one teacher stays in one place for many, many months, because then there is no actual dharma service to that person. It's almost, these are practical logic. So then you are very safe. The teacher has a sense of responsibility, sense belongings, where he belongs to or she belongs to. The teacher is governed by the monastery, not governed by lay people. Again, the teacher, very popular among lay people, is also a bit dangerous, because not very popular among the Sangha, popular among the lay people. Because lay people do not know the quality of the Sangha. Anything the teacher say, they worship, but they are not very popular among the Sangha. So teacher that is celebrated by Sangha, teacher that has a sense of belongings, after you making sense, prioritize first. This teacher really makes sense. Every single teaching, this is what I want to learn from him or her, and I want to become like him or her. They are my role model. How they manage their emotions, how they teach. Then secondly, you check who are this person. History, clean history. These days, histories are very simple. Internet provides, cannot hide, which is very good luck, in that way. And then you are quite safe with that. Provided you really want to practice, though, provided you really want to practice. If you don't want to practice, don't look for a teacher. To be honest, I'll be very open with you. It really hurts. It really hurts the teacher's feeling. We feel really cheated, to be honest. For us, if you want to be genuine teacher, only hope we have from the student is for a student to grow, flourish on the spiritual path. But this is not happening. Every time we question ourselves, am I doing the right thing? Am I a right teacher? Because my student is not growing. My student is not doing well. So instead of helping someone, you end up harming someone else. Understand? Is it clear? Okay.
Tasidele Rinpoche. So, Rinpoche said, okay, the purpose of the Striyana is out from samsara, right? Yes.
All will take you out.
Yeah, take you out. Okay. So I hear this quote from like a Mahayana or Vajrayana. They say, Arahat Sravaka Buddha. Okay. So they parinibbana, dying from this world. Yes. After that, they will again in somewhere learn Dhamma again. So they exist again, learn Dhamma to become a Buddha. This is true. I need Rinpoche to confirm this. This is very important.
Not important. First you get out of samsara, then you will know. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Little confused.
No, it's true. Because you know what? For example, Pritayaka Buddha maybe have the knowledge of Bodhisattva, equivalent knowledge. Remember in today's teaching we talk about wisdom and merit. But unfortunately, Pritayaka Buddha is lacking of some merit because of no bodhicitta. So it's not about learning. They have to accumulate bodhicitta again. So that part is like a training license, right? Put in that simple man. You are qualified. But there's a but. So then you have to go train again the missing part. So that's why there's actually, you're right. There's a bit teaching on that. How Pritayaka Buddha later realized it's not the ultimate. And then knowledge, everything is there, but there's a struggle to move further because lacking of compassion, lacking of bodhicitta. Then that's why, but definitely out of samsara. But again, getting out of samsara is not the answer, right? Even any meditations, can be out of, not out of samsara, but in the three worlds, we call it, in the formless world, for eons, in the meditate, hibernating yourself. Of course, compared to that, getting out of samsara itself is very beneficial.
So I think so. We just follow the Mahayana or Vajrayana.
It really doesn't matter. Right now, for example, right now, you just be a good human being, follow any of the path. Eventually, you will progress yourself. As I said, so if you ask me, should I choose right now at your space? Should I choose Mahayana, Vajrayana? You choose yourself first. Second, be a good human being. On top of that, any practice that making sense and able to govern your life, stay positive, improve, have a better, I think it's okay. You get what I mean? But you are already on the path. He was talking earlier something, almost been 20 years on Dharma path, he said. But still not able to. I don't know where it went wrong. There are some like that. Not even already started, but not able to be concrete on the path. So then maybe you need to sort it out. Again, sometimes it could be our own mistake, that we are not very sincere, says that you go to talk to that monk, okay, maybe not. Talk to this Bante, no. Talk to this Sifu, no, and learn little bit, and later you gather so much. Like what you're just saying. Oh, I hear this, I hear this, I hear this. Maybe you are doing a good shamatha meditation. Today you heard about that. From tomorrow, Rinpoche, I want to become Vajrayana. Then you drop the other one, right? And then it can be 40 years. You go nowhere. As I was saying yesterday, is a bridge to nowhere, right? So as a lay people right now, whatever the path you are, as long as you are progressing, though, if you are not progressing, then it's I'm very sincere. For example, I have few cases like that. They said we are not able to meet our teacher anymore. Sometimes teacher passed away. Sometimes teacher don't visit us anymore. We cannot visit the teacher. Understand? Sometimes they said we cannot communicate. Teacher don't speak the same language. I'm stuck. Then it is very reasonable price. Very reasonable cost. Right? So it's like, oh, this is better than this. Maybe I should. But if it's not improving, then yes. Oh, I have been meditating on that particular path. Nothing is improving. Then maybe you have a different calling. So then it's also good to talk to that teacher saying that I may be, can you help me because I'm not progressing? And then be just. But I don't know if there will be a honest teacher that can let you go sometimes, right? Because it's like a business. You need to have more students, more people, right? And maybe, so that is how they build their settings, right? So that's why, as in the beginning, I was saying, called Buddhist, we have both problems. We have our problem as a teacher. We are not careful. We are not caring enough. As a follower, you are not careful enough. You are not dedicated enough. And then some of the sincere teacher get put off, right? And this is how it works.
Thanks, Rinpoche.
Pleasure. That's a lot of hours. Yes. Yes. Come. But please leave if you want to leave. Please. Don't break the mic, please.
Rinpoche Kutu Zangpola, I would like to ask, why is Tantra becoming more and more accessible to the public when it's originally meant to be secret? Thank you.
Oh, that's why I'm saying, right? Some teachers are very liberated, and the modernizations, informations, So we have some teacher, they're saying that we must teach anyway, because otherwise some other school, because the teachings are quite profound and beautiful. And again, as it's like a campaign, politics. I want more student, so they will have this special teaching. You don't even have the lineage. You will start it. I don't want to go into details. So some of the master, especially in Nyingma tradition and the Kaju, some other schools started reading the text and saying, "Oh, this is what it means," about the great Mahasindha or Mahamudra, and they were saying that we better give them at least proper lineage than instead of someone just spoiling it. And sometimes then that's why it's a demand, some demand, can we have this teaching? As also, for example, I always share, we have student followers that do not practice. We have student wanting more. You don't want what you have, but you want more, demanding a student. And some teacher fear that they may lose the student, and they started giving you that special, so-called special teachings. But that's why I'm saying a secret will always stay as a secret. I don't think there will be an effect. Because remember, time, place, people. So it was a wrong timing, and wrong people, in the wrong place. So it may not affect it. Yes. Yeah.
Oke, baik Bapak Ibu, saya kira sudah cukup malam ya. Sudah pukul 10. Saya yakin memang semakin malam semakin panas. Orang Medan seperti itu. Awalnya tidak ada yang mau bertanya, semakin malam semakin panas. Tapi nggak apa-apa, nanti contohnya bila setelah ini selesai, mana tahu kalau Rinpoche belum naik ya. Tapi kalau Rinpoche sudah naik, berarti besok baru dilanjutkan. I think Rinpoche, time is over. Thank you for sharing today. Dan mari kita berdiri, kita
What is it?
Rinpoche untuk istirahat ya.
What is it?
To take a rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you
Yes,
Rinpoche
yes.
for sharing today, because tomorrow is still coaching. Yeah?
Long day, right?
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Gimana Ci? Foto ya? Bagaimana Ibu mau foto? Oh, Rinpoche we take foto? Foto, oke. Tim fotografer ready? Oke, cara fotonya bagaimana kira-kira bagusnya? Kita duduk depan gitu Bu ya? Sekitar ya, oh ya. Boleh yang kita foto bersama boleh ya, yang masih ada di sini saja. Kita foto bersama untuk kenang-kenangan lah ya, kenang-kenangan. Gak usah kita masih setia sampai pukul 10 lewat, luar biasa ini ya. Memang orang Medan seperti itu ya. Yuk mari yuk, yang masih stay di sini mau foto boleh. Silakan yuk, ada yang duduk, ada yang berdiri di belakang. Biar nampak wajahnya, barangkali habis ini semuanya tercerahkan. Ada yang mau di atas boleh ya, di atas bareng Ko Alung ya boleh juga. Ya barangkali mungkin susah jongkok, berdiri boleh. Kalau susah ini nggak kelihatan, berdiri di atas juga bisa. Fotografer bisa dicek ya, kira-kira dapat semua. Iya, formasinya silakan tim fotografer. Sorry Rinpoche. Oke, thank you Rinpoche. Thank you, semua thank you. Iya, thank you. Dan kami informasikan besok masih ada retret Buddha Amitabha, tepat pukul 8 pagi hingga 6 sore. Jadi besok itu hari terakhir dan malamnya besok ada Lut Puja atau boleh dibilang seperti puja untuk inilah ya, blessing ya, puja blessing begitu untuk besok malam. Mulai pukul 7:30 sampai pukul 9 juga. Ya kira-kira seperti itu. Baik, terima kasih semuanya. Sampai jumpa besok. Namo Sang Hyang Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya. Thank you, Rinpoche.